Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good morning to each and every single one of you. Two big transfer stories doing the rounds this morning. We're here to bring what the media is saying to you, to give you the opportunity to have your say, to give us your opinion. And two real interesting ones, as I say. First of all, Manchester United potentially making a U-turn on the Edinson Cavani deal. Of course, he signed a one-year contract with the option to extend by a further year. That additional extension has not yet, as we enter the midway point of February, only 3 months remaining of this season. United have not opted yet to increase Cavani's stay and to increase that contract and extend the contract to the end of the 2022 season. At the same time, there are big reports that Juve and AC Milan are keeping tabs on Chelsea winger Hakim Ziyech, as reportedly Thomas Tuchel is not overtly keen on the individual, and there could be an option in the summer to loan Hakim Ziyech out for the entirety of next season. What do these stories mean? Is this just a case of putting 2 and 2 together and getting 4? Could this mean Man United are looking at a bigger, better, more potent striker to try and bring in? Of course, if a Harry Kane or a Haaland, and I'm just naming 2 names off the top of my head, came in, that would limit the time and opportunity for Edinson Cavani to play. Of course, going for a younger option and more deadly options in front of goal could be an advantage. In relation to Hakim Ziyech, we have currently seen Hudson-Odoi become one of the most favoured personnel to play in that attacking right-hand side role or in the fullback role. And maybe, just maybe, that is what Tuchel is looking to build, a system that's going to use wing-backs as opposed to right-sided inside forwards. And that could mean that actually Chelsea have too many players that play in those inside forward roles, and they need to look to move one on. This could also be the media being the media. This could be BS. I want your opinions, because as we always say on the Football Terrace, your opinions count a lot more than anything else. Philip Hunt here with a comment says Ziyech is a flop. Really? I mean, I think that's a little bit harsh, if I'm being honest with you. Patrick here says Ziyech is better than Jadon Sancho. A comment here says lies. Listen, let's call out the media on this. The story regarding Hakim Ziyech here. I'm going to go through the story. It's by Luke Augustine, who says here that Juve and AC Milan are keeping tabs on Chelsea winger Hakim Ziyech as a shock summer loan move, with the winger struggling for minutes under new boss Thomas Tuchel. According to, I can't pronounce the name of this Italian outlet. It's I'll put it in the comments, however it's pronounced. I don't know how you pronounce this. I have to run it through Google Translate. My dyslexic brain doesn't like this one at all. If somebody wants to break that down for me, there we go. Do you know what we'll do? We'll put it into Google Translate, and then maybe Google Translate will help me. Because for me, I struggle with English, bruv, being dyslexic. When it comes to complicated long words with multiple letters, let's see what this comes out saying. Let's see this. How does this sound?
Calciomercato.
See, how am I meant to say that?
Calciomercato.
Listen, Italian outlet. They have said, and I'll read what they've said here. AC Milan are both monitoring the situation at Stamford Bridge and are prepared to offer him a route out via a loan deal. Ziyech has only started 1 Premier League game under new boss Thomas Tuchel, and that was his first game in charge in the goalless draw with Wolves. It goes on to say, since then, the 27-year-old was admitted from the squad as they won 2-0 at home against Burnley and was an unused sub in the wins against Tottenham and Sheffield United. He's finally started once more during Tuchel's reign in the FA Cup 5th round draw, but was substituted due to a poor performance. The Italian outlet reports that if the Moroccan winger continues to struggle for game time under Tuchel, that Juve and AC Milan long-term admirers are prepared to swoop in and save him. Ziyech joined Chelsea for £37.8 million in the summer from Ajax, and has made 19 appearances so far this season, and of course scoring twice. And I suppose here what the media are trying to do, to an extent, is smart. To an extent is smart, and I understand what it is they're trying to do. I understand what they're trying to achieve when they come out and say these things, but it's very much a case of, the one thing that does stand out in my mind is, and I want to make sure this is said in the right way when you see this here, is sometimes, and this is the one thing you've got to remember, and this has happened at Chelsea many times before, when you change managers, there is always the chance the new guy coming in doesn't fancy a player or two. And that's why I said to a few United fans recently, you could scream from the rafters that Ollie should be sacked, but maybe Nangelsmann comes in and doesn't fancy Pogba, doesn't fancy Rashford, doesn't fancy Diallo, that you've got your heart set on. These are the risks you take when you sign, when you take on a new manager. Personally, my view is that Ziyech is going to be absolutely fine. But these are the reports. Do you know one thing I'd say to some of our viewers that come on here? Obviously, we just blocked one guy for trolling. We're not claiming to have the source. We're not claiming to be the source. We're bringing to you what the media says. You've got an opportunity to denounce, etc. I'm dyslexic too. Can't pronounce that. Do you know what it is? I know that it's meant to be said with an accent. I can't read that kind of lettering. Plus, put the accent on at the same time. It's something I need to talk. A few people here saying that Ziyech is a flop. I agree with this comment here. I think he's class. Every time I've seen him in a Chelsea shirt, I think he's looked excellent. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Terry, why a loan and not to sell? I think the reason for the loans would be because the European clubs are struggling financially as compared to the Premier League counterparts. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. They have struggled. They don't have the same level of income as the Premier League teams. Their international and domestic TV deals are not as high. Of course, they're losing match day revenue as well. So a loan deal would probably be, there'll be a lot of loan deals, in my opinion, this summer from the European clubs with non-compulsory purchase orders for the following year to be set in play to protect people financially. Thank you, Indiana here. Go and sign up to the Discord, people. It's in the description. Links for calls will be posted in there. We will let you call into the show very soon. We're going to post a link as well, as per Indiana's comments. Terry, what are the chances do you think that United will get Sancho? Honestly, I believe in my heart of hearts this summer, huge chance, 80% plus chance that United are going to land him. There are reports today that it could be done for as little as £50 million, as are the transfer struggles and financial struggles that Borussia Dortmund find themselves in. And do you know what? Take away the fact I wanted Jadon Sancho last summer. If Man United are able to pull this deal off for anywhere between 50 and 80 million pounds, they've saved the club over 30 million quid. Just do your research into how much net profit Man United have lost through not playing games in front of a crowd over the course of the past year and a bit by the end of the season. The vast majority of that money could be recouped in that deal. Absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. Mohammed here, one of my brand new members. We've had you unblocked, sir. I'm not too sure what happened in terms of you calling in. That's been done. So when we share the link on the Discord server, you can call in. It says it's fake news. I don't necessarily think it's fake news in terms of somebody making this up. My view is this is the Juves and the AC Milans being smart. They obviously want Ziyech, so they're throwing this out as a little bit of news to say, oh, you know what, Ziyech, if you start finding yourself being a little bit unhappy, you've got a home here, my friend. I can't pronounce all words too. Okay, cool. That's a strange comment. On the Cavani deal, let's go through the Cavani one. Then we're going to get man like KJ on the show, but make sure you're all smashing that like button, people. Right now, hit that like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace, and turn on the bell notification button as well. The Discord server is brilliant also because you'll get notifications when we go live in there. Also, the Cavani deal is an interesting one here. It says here that Man United are yet to trigger Edinson Cavani and Juan Mata's contract extensions. It says the emergence of Cavani and the consistency of Juan Mata have put United in a unique spot in regards to their contracts. I wouldn't say consistency of Juan Mata anymore, but there we go. It says both players have deals that expire at the end of the season, and both contracts have a 1-year term to extend that United can trigger to keep them for another season. But United have yet to do so with either player. Typically, these moves are made mid-season. You tend to see these around that February, March time. It says Cavani's play has seen him replace Anthony Martial as the first choice lineup, and the Uruguayan turns 34 on Sunday, and it is not the club's policy to be handing out further deals to players of his age. Cavani's influence on and off the field has been noticed by the manager, who recently said, I think Cavani has done very well. He's been excellent. He's obviously been injured. Anyone can be injured. He came late in the transfer window, so I'm pleased with his influence in the dressing room, his habits he has that he brings to training, and his attitude to the game. You can see that he looks after himself well. And I think for me, that what's interesting about this news here is that the only reason that I would say it would be acceptable to not extend the contract of Edinson Cavani is if we're bringing in a younger, better, more potent number 9. That would be the only explanation that makes sense. His movement, his work rate, his hold-up play is absolutely phenomenal, but he is 34. And if you can, and I'm throwing out Harry Kane and Haaland's names as obvious choices, but if you can bring in a striker that can do what Cavani does and or improve it, or it's got 5 years, 6 years left in the tank, not 1, 2, it would make sense to maybe not extend the contract. He's on a lot of money, and there may not be the room in the squad to have Harry Kane and an Edinson Cavani. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. But that would be the only logical reason to push this deal through. But my question to you all this morning, and on my personal Twitter account at @tfluers, go check that out. We've got polls running to whether or not Manchester United should keep Edinson Cavani for another year or not. Let's go and have a little look actually and see what those polls are saying right now. Actually, do you know what I'll do? I'll put them up on the screen. It's probably going to be the easiest thing to do. I'll put them up on the screen. And then you guys can all see, take a look, etc. Hang on a sec, peeps. There we go. Currently, 82%. Currently, 82% of Manchester United fans think that, and we'll put it up here as you can see, 82% of Manchester United fans think that Manchester United should, let me do that, it makes it fit better, should sign Cavani on an extra deal. We also put one out for the Chelsea situation. Should Chelsea keep Hakim Ziyech? 61% said yes. So if Chelsea and Man United are thinking of doing this, currently the fan base is completely disagree. Man like DJ says, sorry, Ziyech is going nowhere. I happen to agree with you. I don't think he will be going anywhere. However, we've seen this happen before. New managers come in. They have new ideas, they have new visions, they have new thoughts, they have new feelings towards players, and it can happen. There is nearly always a casualty or two when a new manager arrives. And sometimes it isn't about being poor. It isn't about not being good enough. It can often be more about the individual player and where they fit into the system. It could be. So what I would say to Chelsea fans is I think it's unlikely, but I wouldn't. And Ziyech may not be the individual, but it's highly likely, in my opinion. Look at the fact that Alonso's playing and Ben Chilwell can't get in the team. It could be that at the end of the season, Tuchel says to Roman, look, I want Joe Bloggs, and I'm just saying Joe Bloggs, to be my fullback, who's better than Alonso. I want Alonso as my backup. There's no room for Ben Chilwell. It could be Ben Chilwell that is the casualty of all this. And it's likely, it's highly likely that this could happen. We've seen it before. We've absolutely seen it before. There's no doubt. We're going to share the link now for you guys to come on. We're going to put it onto the general chat page of the Actually, no, I'm going to put it into the Chelsea chat. It's going to be in the Chelsea chat. You got to go find it on the Discord server. I've just shared the link there for you to come on and have your say. I've just spammed it, if I'm being absolutely honest. And you should use the Discord chat a lot more. Quite a lot of you actually use the Discord chat during live streams, which is quite cool. I sometimes sit there watching it. It's quite interesting to watch and see you all going through different bits and pieces. But remember, we have a chat room for all the top 6 teams, including Leicester as well. So get yourselves across there, get yourselves involved. Excellent place to be. First caller we're going to get on the show, resident of the Football Terrace, my brother, man like KJ's here with me. How you doing, bro?
Yo, what's up? You can hear me?
Yeah, man, all good, bro. What do you make of this Cavani news this morning? The club haven't entered negotiations yet to extend or even spoke to him about extending his contract. Do you think it's something the club should be doing?
It's one of those ones where, like, if you was a proper run football club, you've already got a striker target in mind, and Cavani's contract wouldn't be extended because you realize that, listen, we're gonna need more out of him for a lot longer, and he can't produce that. Not because of he's not got a quality, just the age. He's just hitting that age where it's just like, it might be being a bit too much. So we should really not be extending Cavani's contract, really. But in the reality, we have to remember, these guys who run our club, we can't trust them to sign someone for free, let alone get rid of someone and then sign a new striker. We don't know how on earth they're going to even get rid of Cavani and then find a new striker on top of getting all the positions that we need in the summer anyway. So in reality, we have to extend it. We have to.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think for me, and as you say, unless there is an opportunity to bring in, and I'm talking serious players here, I'm talking sort of like, if we can bring in, if Harry Kane decides, you know what, I want to leave Tottenham because they ain't winning trophies. I mean, Man United may not be the actual best choice for that right now, but if Harry Kane could come in, if Haaland could come in, there's another striker out there that's just, more potent in front of goal, can hold the play up and has all the great habits that Ollie talks about that Cavani has, then it makes sense. Outside of that, I'd just be getting it done almost. The club's got to look at that as a priority. If we're not even looking at a player like that this summer, if we're saying, do you know what? Drop it out. We're going to focus on centre-backs, right side of attack and CDM. Just sign Cavani now, get it done, stop these rumours. In terms of the Hakim Ziyech one, I've been sent a link here from the Winter Surfer, to a piece in the Athletic today talking about him that makes it sound very much like he isn't going to leave. I personally don't think Chelsea will let him go at this stage. But what do you make of this story about Ziyech? And do you think, so there's Simon Johnson here has done an article saying Ziyech struggling, but ability is evident in training. I get that. Do you think, though, there could be a casualty from this new influx of players that Lampard signed now that Tuchel is here?
No. I think Chelsea Football Club signed for their club, and they signed well for their club. Thomas Tuchel is a good manager, and I'm pretty sure he can find a way to use someone like Hakim Ziyech, who is a very good footballer. I feel like Hakim Ziyech will stay. If there's going to be a casualty, it'll be one of the guys out of form, like completely out of form. And we know who we're talking about here. We're talking about Kai Havertz and Werner. But because Tuchel's German, everyone's saying he's going to get the best out of the German players. So if they're not going to leave, then that's about it. Like, they're all staying. Maybe a Giroud will go. Maybe a Tammy Abrahams will go. But in terms of Ziyech, Ziyech is going nowhere. He's a quality player, and I'm sure he can adapt over time to what Tuchel wants in his team. Can I quickly talk about like wide creators and wing players and number 10s playing out wide and stuff? I just wanted to quickly say about Juan Mata. What a waste. What a waste. What a waste. We gave him a new contract for what? I actually feel for the man, because he's still got some quality in his legs. He may not got the speed, but he's still got the quality and the IQ to be playing top flight football week in, week out. Yeah. And we have denied this man, like we've denied many players, a chance to be playing football. He really shouldn't have re-signed. We shouldn't have re-signed him. We should have let him go back to Spain, let him go to Russia, or let him go to the MLS, go somewhere where he can play football, because he has just wasted here playing a bit part just to be part of the squad, just to help the youth. What's the point? And also, we've let young players go like Angel Gomez for Juan Mata, for him to also do nothing. So this is what I mean. Like, where was the future? Where was the planning? Where was the development in keeping Juan Mata when he has barely done anything over the last how many years since his contract extension? It's sad, man. It's sad.
I hear that. I mean, he played, and the interesting thing is, he played a couple of games after either the first or the second international breaks. He was very good against Newcastle as an example, and thought, okay, done well there. He hasn't even really featured when we played, sort of when we were in the League Cup. He could have started in the FA Cup game against West Ham, but I still think he's got something to offer. And sometimes it isn't all about pace and speed. I felt that maybe there's been games where Bruno hasn't quite been up to par, where it would have been perfect for Juan Mata to have come into the fray, for him to have come in and for him to have done his thing. As you say, it just hasn't happened. And I think from my point of view, I think Juan Mata's whole time at United, he's obviously had some brilliant games.
Yeah, moments as well. Yeah.
Juanfield being one of them as an example. But I just feel we've never really found a position and a place in our team for him where he's been able to shine and truly sort of demonstrate his quality to us, mate. And it's definitely a shame. It's definitely a shame because he's such a talented player. That the one matter that was at Chelsea was just phenomenal. And I never really felt that we've got the best out of him. Built a team around him enough. And the problem is, by the time we maybe had the pace on both flanks and up front that could have benefited Juan Mata, he was, in my view, very much past his best, which was a massive shame. But bro, listen, Cage, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and I'll chat to you again soon, bro.
Yeah, catch you in a bit, dude.
Take care, buddy. Take care, mate. Thank you. Next up on the show, we're gonna have who's with us next? We're gonna have A1 official on the channel with us now. A1, welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say, bro?
Hello,
mate. Yeah, what do you want to say?
have you heard of the Man United rumours? Like, in case if we don't re-sign Cavani,
What's that?
we might be signing. What's his name? The guy from France, Lemine, and Exxon from Bordeaux, midfielder. Like, in case if we don't re-sign Cavani.
I've never heard of him. Tell me about these players.
I know Exxon. He's 15 years old, but he ain't gonna like.
I said, bro, you're never gonna catch me out on anything like that. It's never,
cool.
ever gonna happen.
21 is coming. 21 is coming.
Stop it. Listen, bro, thanks for coming on, having your say, mate. I appreciate it. There we go. Next on the show, we're gonna have Indiana. Indiana's back with us. How you doing, mate?
What just happened?
I don't know. I mean, people try and catch you out. I mean, eggs. I don't quite even get the joke.
No, I didn't get it. Yeah, but
there we go. Do you know what you might have tried to do is make me go, oh yeah, I've heard of that player. He's brilliant. It's never going to happen with me. What's your take on the Cavani situation? Should Man United be extending this contract sooner rather than later?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because we know what the board are going to do. I think the board will extend. So United will extend the contract and not go for a striker. But my thing is, if there's one available, an elite striker, you go and get him when you can. That should be priority number one. Like, I know KJ's big on the wingers. I think there's plenty of tricky wingers around. But when it comes to elite strikers, you have to go and pick them up when you can. There's not many around. I mean, who is around, really? I know people talk about Harry Kane, but he's quite injury prone. I don't know whether he's going to leave Spurs this season. Haaland, if you can get Haaland, go and get him. Any top club that can get Haaland, if he's available, go and get him. Spend the money. I just know what United will do, though. I know they're going to extend the deal for Cavani. They'll wait until next year, and then the world will know we're desperate for a striker. And I don't think that's the right way round to do it. I mean,
I hear you on that, and I suppose that's the problem. I mean, hindsight always makes things easier to judge. I was reading, we've got a new United fan coming on the show Monday, and I've been reading some of his tweets recently, and I can't wait to go through them with him on Monday. About, we ended up with AWB, but we could have had Cancelo. We ended up with Maguire, but we could have had Joe Bloggs. And of course, it's very easy after the fact to judge the quality of a signing based on where your player is now and his contemporaries are. Makes it a little bit easier after the fact than before. But the same thing could happen here. We might extend Cavani's deal and all say, yes, I'm happy we're keeping him because he's good. But then Chelsea in the summer sign Haaland, and we're not even looking at him because we've re-signed Cavani. And then we get to next summer and it's okay, well, who's available that can come in and even be as good as Cavani, but with a longer shelf life? There may be nobody. And I agree with you. That's my fear when it comes to, it's my only fear when it comes to extending Cavani's deal is that we watch the parade go by when it comes to a different player. And that's my fear. And this is where you hope. I mean, those are probably the 3-4 positions. Centre-back, in terms of first teamers, it's centre-back, CM, right wing or right inside forward, and striker. Those are the 4 positions that Manchester United categorically have to have fixed. They categorically have to have fixed when it comes to the summer. Over the next 2 summers, if we don't, actually no, I'm not even messing about. This summer, those 4 positions, ideally, you want to have filled and replaced. And if you could bring in, I'm just going to use Haaland's name, but a Haaland, if you can bring in or re-sign Cavani, but the following summer you've already done the legwork on bringing somebody else in to replace him. I'm kind of happy with it. The problem
I'd be happy with that.
We just don't trust this board. That's the biggest problem, mate. Really do. And just quickly on Hakim Ziyech, do you think it would be a madness for Chelsea to let him go?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, I really like the guy. I
Yeah,
think his
same.
quality. Actually, I think he's the best signing they made in the summer. I actually think he's the best player they signed.
Yeah, that's a big shout, but I do think a lot of Chelsea fans would legitimately agree with you on that. I really think they do. Indiana, mate, I appreciate you coming on the show and having your say, buddy. We'll chat to you again soon, mate. All the best, pal. Thank you. Next up on the show, we're going to have man like Pav. Pav's here with us. What you saying, Pav?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You're all talking about Edinson Cavani, but how many strikers are going to be available in this summer? Is Haaland's release clause available this summer or is it the following season?
Well, this is what needs to be weighed up, and this is about doing your due diligence. So my understanding is the release clause is only available in the summer of 2022. So if you want him now, you've got to pay a big amount of money. So say, I don't know, £100 million. But this is what Man United have got to weigh up. It's, do you let somebody, if I was Man United right now, I would pay the £100 million for him and not wait another year for the buyout clause. And I would just spend that extra money to secure the business.
Yeah, like obviously my ideal choice would be Haaland, but that means Ed Woodward would have to bend over for Mina Raiola one more time. And I don't know if they're going to do that again. And there's maybe two other strikers who I think could possibly come in. But Harry Kane, I think, at his age and with the injuries he always gets every season, I don't think it's worth the money. He's a world-class striker, but for the money and his injury issues, I'm not sure about that. And then there's maybe one other who plays at Inter Milan, Lautaro Martinez. I rate that guy as well. And again, that's another £100 million player. So it's like,
well,
how much money do we have in the summer?
The thing with it is, you're true. It is how much money you're going to have. Our rivals will sign these players, and if you want them, you need to buy them. And if you look right now, what are Liverpool struggling with? Not having a prolific goal scorer.
Yeah.
If you add that prolific goal scorer, if you get them at the right age, they win you an extra 12 points a year, and those 12 points are what win you those trophies, bro. Listen, Pav, thank you for coming on, having your say, mate. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have the voice of reason. We have one of the greatest YouTube legends of all time. He says it's time to go. We haven't seen him recently with his husband Ty very much due to artistic differences. But do me a favor before man like Claude comes on the show, smash the like button right about now. Let's get this past 200. Why are we sitting there on 188 likes? 9,000 people watching. Let's smash that like button right now. Man like Claude, eye test. No, eye test is not as legendary as this guy. Smash this like button right about now. Man like Claude is with us. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, mate, more like legend. Never mind legend. Anyway, listen, Terry, I can remember you lot, all of you on that panel, right? Absolutely slating the signing of Cavani, right? I remember you all mocking him because he got the number 7 shirt and everything like that. And you must now have realised what you were in the wrong.
So on that, two things. Yes, 100% we were in the wrong. I've sent the video off to our new partners. They're going to be featuring it in a mockery video where me and the team we're basically going to be laughing at ourselves because we did get it wrong. We absolutely got it wrong. Barring Indiana, actually, who was just on Indiana was over the moon with it, and of course, man like Aaron was very happy as well. They were both over the moon with that sign-in. For me, I just felt it was going to be another Falcao issue. But he's completely and utterly proven us wrong. So do you think Man United should be re-signing him regardless? Just get that deal done, secure him next season as a top striker?
Yeah, I mean, like Ronaldo, I think he's still got a couple of 2 or 3 years still left in him. Forget the age. He looks very fit to me. His movement to me is fantastic. What I love about him is his movement off the ball. Everything about him is, all right, he had a poor game at the Emirates. Was a bit unlucky with that shot that went wide, but I mean, to be honest with you, I think you should give him a contract, and I think I don't know how much the wages will be, but I don't think it'll be that excessive, will it? So, yeah, I would give him a contract. I know you buy these players like Haaland, and you don't know. It's a bit of a gamble because look at Timo Werner. He's taken a while to settle in at Chelsea, isn't he?
Yeah, he has. He definitely taken a while to settle. I think he'll come good under Thomas Tuchel. It's just going to take him a little bit of time. What do you make of the Chelsea rumours this morning that they're potentially looking at loaning out Hakim Ziyech to AC Milan and Juve? Do you think that would be a mistake for them to let him go, or is this just the media playing being the devil?
I think he's another one of these players that needs about a year to adapt to the Premier League. I think there is a player in him, but it's up to Tuchel if he doesn't see it. And Tuchel, I think, has got more experience on knowing these sort of things than Frank Lampard. I think what a great move that was by Chelsea, by the way. I mean, within 2 or 3 games, he's got them. I mean, they were poor last night, but if you look in the league, he's got them playing to a style already, and it's a great move. See, that's another thing. That's how a big club should act, like that, getting rid of Lampard, not carry on like with this process rubbish that's going on at the Emirates.
Are you still not convinced by Mikel Arteta? We had a good run after Christmas. Is that not enough to change your mind about him?
Looking forward to the 10th place playoff on Sunday. Yeah. Listen, I'm not convinced by him. I don't think he should have been given a job in the first place. He's inexperienced. I know you're gonna throw Ollie now doing well at Man United, but at least Ollie had a little bit of experience. So he had no experience. He's coming into a job, and he's making a lot of big mistakes. And at a big club like Arsenal, we need to be moving forward quickly because everyone's saying give it time. But other teams are going to improve even more and more and more. And where are we going to be? So we've got to make a stand at the end of the season on this one, because to say we've got to give him another year, what we're going to do next year, we're going to go around the same thing next January and look at our position has not improved. So I think come the end of the season, for me, if we're not in if not in the Champions League where we can attract a better standard of player, I think we have to look at it again.
There we go. Listen, Claude, love having you on the show, mate. How you feeling now? I know you weren't very well a few weeks ago.
To be honest with you, I've been in bed for about 3.5 weeks. I've only really just got up, and I'm still gradually getting there. I've taken about 2 weeks of antibiotics, and it's suddenly maybe a little bit starting to work a bit now. But hopefully, I can get back on my channel soon, because that's what I miss most, getting on my channel. Although those boys are doing very well at the moment without me, but I'd like to get back on it. But soon I will be back.
There we go. Listen, Claude, hope you feel better soon, mate. Take care of yourself, buddy. Speak to you in a bit. Top man. Take care, mate. Bye-bye. Yeah, I reached out to Claude a few weeks ago. It was very, very rough. Glad to see him well and getting better and back on his feet again. Yeah, weren't in a great place a few weeks ago. Make sure you're all smashing the like button, people. Please do me a favor as well and share this stream on your social media platforms now. Get your friends, get your family, get your football friends involved. Football friends, get them involved right now with the Terrace by sharing this link. Big things on the way for us. I want to shout out our title sponsors, Manscaped. You can still get 20% off of all their male grooming products by using our promo code TFT in the link in the description below. Next up on the show, we are going to have Philip Hunt. Then we're going to have Ladimus. Ladimus Prime is going to be here as well, people. So keep with us, stay with us, smash that like button. Next up, Philip Hunt is here. What you saying, Phil boy?
Hey, Terry, how you doing?
I'm good. You've been calling out Ziyech in the chat. You've been saying that Ziyech is a flop. Explain yourself, young man.
Look, I just want to say, first of all, I think he is a good player. I just don't think he's succeeded. And the fact that Tuchel has only played him once since then, I think proves that he doesn't show confidence in him. Because they are playing better now. But, like, you know how we'd all make fun of Havertz and Werner, you know, how they were flops. Then Chelsea fans would always say, but look at Ziyech, he's much better. And I don't think any of them have been that great this season. And I think it is a disappointment. And the rumours, I don't know, maybe Tuchel wants to give him another chance, but I haven't seen him let him start yet. So maybe they just want to loan him out for a year and then get him back.
I don't know. Listen, I think that it's very hard, listen, Philip, for when you look at Hakim Ziyech, he's come in, he was injured for the first part. He starts playing some games, looks good, picked up another little knock. And then all the turmoil with Frank Lampard comes into play. So he misses out. And then you have a new manager come in that's playing with a new system, that's playing with a new style. And it's just going to take time. There's been so much rotation. I wouldn't say he's been a flop at all. I think that he's just been, it's been the situation and circumstance that stopped him from cementing a place in this team.
I mean,
Hakim, but he's going to come. Per 90 minutes. Per 90 minutes, he's one of Chelsea's biggest creators this year. He's like, in terms of the minutes that he's played and had on the pitch, he really has delivered. I think it's far too quick to be calling Hakim Ziyech a flop.
Yeah, I understand that. On the Edinson Cavani thing, like, he's been once I watched the Southampton game, that just justified the signing there because that was brilliant what he did. And I know you guys don't really sign players when they get that old, but someone for him, like, he's actually been, as you said, he's kind of replaced Martial as, your main striker in a way. So it makes sense to, like, maybe have him on for one other year. But at the same time, you guys want to sign Sancho, and if there was ever a time to do it, it'd probably be this year when, these European clubs are in such financial turmoil. They want to sell it, and Dortmund always do that. They always sell their best players financially. That's their model. So maybe,
I hear you on that. Philip, top man, thank you very much for coming on, having your say, mate. We'll speak to you again soon, buddy. All the best. Next up, Latimer's Prime is here. Latimer's, welcome back to the show. Philip's done it. Loads of people in the comments saying that's it. Ziyech has been a flop. I mean, you can't agree with that at all as a Chelsea fan, can you? You're on mute, bro.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
when we signed him in the summer, I wasn't necessarily for it. Because considering his age, 26, 27, and being in the Eredivisie for so long, for me, there was a thought in my mind of, why haven't you moved before? Because you've been linked to the likes of Arsenal for the past few years. Why haven't you made that move yet? Why take so long? And I saw him playing a friendly, and the first few games he played for us, he was electric. But it just looks like he's fizzled out. And I don't know if it's due to a case of he's still trying to adapt. Plus, a new manager has come in, and that's shaking things up. I'm just curious where he fits in to this news, to this new manager and this new style. I'm just curious where he actually fits in, to be honest.
Well, the thing is, no one really knows yet. No one knows where anybody's going to fit in. I mean, I can't for the life of me see Hudson-Odoi being converted to a fullback, wingback forever, if that makes sense. I think it's just going to take time. And yes, he hasn't played the volume of games that everybody would like to see him in yet. But there's going to be lots of rotation. I only think there's 2 or 3 players at the moment that are like cemented and cast iron within the Tuchel system. And it's going to take time. And the fact that you also have a game every 2 to 3 days, 3 to 4 days, means there has to be rotation anyway, because otherwise you're going to burn people out. So it's a really difficult time for a new manager, in my opinion, to get these sort of systems and everything else working. There's no doubt about it. Prime, bro, I appreciate you coming on, having your say, mate. We'll chat to you again soon. All the best, brother. Thank you. Latimus, I told you so, Prime. Philip here says, I love Latimus Prime. No disrespect, but I think Tuchel doesn't rate him. You could have said that, Phil, when you were on the air, bro. Have some chest. Have some chest, my brother. We're going to do some of your comments for a moment, but I need you guys smashing that like button, please. Right now, hit the like button. Hit the share button as well. Hit that share button as well. Get it done. Get it done right now. We have got a little question for you as well. Who's the greatest ever signing for under £1 million in the Premier League? Sign for the club, doesn't have to join the club during the Premier League era, but signing for £1 million or less. Who's the greatest ever guy? Who's the greatest ever guy? Super chat here from AKA, who says CDM for United is more important than anybody. I hear you on that. Mahrez. How much did Mahrez cost? Vardy and Mahrez. Thiago Silva can't be in it. Mahrez was £400,000. It's an interesting one. So Mahrez, I'm just making a note of these. Mahrez, 400,000. You think? Eric Cantona, I swear, was Cantona under £1 million? I didn't even know that. You've got Kante in there, but that's only Kante can only count for what he's done at Leicester, because obviously he signed for that. Vardy for $1 million. You're all missing out the PR resistance. And then I want to know, definitely Mahrez. Why Mahrez? You're all missing the guy. Cantona was. If it's £1 million or under, we'll let that flick. We'll let that stay in. Cantona is in there. You're all missing the actual Don, though. You're all missing the actual Don. Sol Campbell. That's a really good shout because Sol Campbell was for free. See, for me, I think it's Dennis Irwin. You know, Dennis Irwin won 7 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, the League Cup, Cup Winners' Cup, Champions League, Super Cup, and the World Club Cup. And he cost 625 grand. 625 grand. If you can find me a player that's won more league titles, plus everything you can possibly win in Europe and in the world and domestically for under £1 million, then we'll go. Find me a man who's won those 7 there. Find me a man who's won those 7 there. It's Dennis Irwin every day of the week. It's Dennis Irwin every day of the week, in my opinion. We've got a super chat here that I want to read out from Blue. Long time and not seen a super chat from you, my brother. I really appreciate the donation. Thank you. He says, I found it really harsh, some of our fan base, about this rumor. I can understand some people are frustrated with his performances last night, but I think it's going to be a massive headache selection for Tuchel. And I agree with that, bro. And I agree with that completely. And that's why I've said that there will be times, there will be moments, there will be times when there'll be moments and there'll be times where where Chelsea fans have got to realize that when you switch managers, you're going to lose some players. And you're going to lose some players because they're not going to be favored by the new manager. This is normal. This happens on a regular basis. I wouldn't be shocked. Just go onto like just Google Chelsea transfers all and look at your seasons of players in and players out, and then cross reference that with when new managers came in. It happens regularly. Like, look at Juan Mata and how popular he was with the previous manager before Jose came in, and then look what happened. You know, and Chelsea fans were like, no, keep Mata. No, keep KDB. It was Oscar was the star. You know, this is what happens. It's very, very normal for this to be the case. Nobody yet has given me a better option than Dennis Irwin. Peter Schmeichel would be a shout. James Wilson, that's funny. Dennis Irwin, 100%. If you can find me that. I mean, Mahrez is a brilliant footballer. Kante's been brilliant. But where's those 7 league titles, bro? 7 league titles. 7 league titles. 7 league titles. Thank you for that super chat, my brother. It means a great deal to me. We're going to go to some more callers. We've got Josh on the line next. Josh is a Chelsea fan. Smash that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Make sure you come follow us on our social media platforms as well. Josh, welcome back to the Terrace. Unmute yourself, my bro. What you saying?
Yes, I want to talk about Chelsea's transfer summer, like what I think we could have.
Go for it.
Because I think this summer it could be a madness. Like, I think there's like 4 or 5 players in the squad right now who needed to leave even when we had Lampard. And then on top of that, you got players like, so we have Timo Werner and Tammy Abraham, right? But we need Haaland, fam. Like, we need Haaland. Like, if you compare Tammy and Haaland, it's incomparable. Like, the only thing that Tammy's better at is maybe link-up play. But all round and everything else, we need Haaland. And we need better players than Jorginho. We need better defenders than Rudiger. And then we need like a replacement right back when Aspi goes. So I think there's so much more work that has to be done to our team. So regardless, I don't think Ziyech is going anywhere. But 4 or 5 players need to leave ASAP.
Yeah, do you know what? I mean, who needs to leave ASAP?
Jorginho, Rudiger, Kepa, Alonso.
Jorginho. Okay, Kepa, cool. Why is Jorginho? Jorginho has been marvelous since Tuchel arrived.
Thing is, I haven't rated Jorginho. I understand what Jorginho does, yeah? Like, he's amazing at what he does. He conducts the ball. He controls the game. Yeah, amazing, whatever. But you can literally find a CDM who does everything that Jorginho does in passing-wise and can actually defend. Because Jorginho, my problem with Jorginho, he cannot defend by himself. That's why when you play a three at the back system and you have that 2 in the pivot, you need Kovacic to stay right next to him, so he has someone to help him defend, someone to pass to. He cannot do he's not that amazing in a 4-3-3 where he's by himself. I think we can find anyone better than Georgie. I even think Declan Rice is better than Georgie. I can't lie.
Wow. So and what are you basing that on? Just his defensive abilities. He's not as good a passer. He's not as good a passer, is he?
Nah. No, he is. When I look at Declan Rice's passing, it's actually under. I don't think Declan Rice is an £80 million player. Don't get me twisted. But his passing is very underrated, and he can defend. So I would take that over Jorginho. Jorginho's passing is not that amazing, and he definitely cannot defend, in my opinion.
I mean, let's do a little test here. I don't know because I haven't ever looked at this. I want to look at both Declan Rice and I'm going to look at Jorginho. So I'm going to read something out and then I want you to say higher or lower for me in terms of what you think. Let's see if the eye test. See if the eye test actually stacks. I had a big debate last night on socials to a point where people keep telling me that Marcus Rashford's decision making is poor. I'm happy to accept that if you can show me the evidence as to how if it's worse than his contemporaries. Nobody can, because there isn't a glaring, if his decision making was worse, he wouldn't create as many chances, score as many goals, he'd lose the ball more, and nobody likes it. So let's see if the eye test stacks up against facts here. So I'm going to get Declan Rice up. I'm going to look at statistics, and I'm going to look at Premier League only because they both play in that competition. So that's fair. You can't put Champions League in because Decky don't play there. Yeah. And then I'm going to go to their defensive attributes. So Declan Rice performs 4.9 interceptions per game.
Higher, way higher. Don't even tell me Jorginho's.
So you think Jorginho's, is it higher or lower?
Jorginho lower.
So Declan Rice 4.9 per game. Jorginho in the Premier League 5.7. So he intercepts almost one more per game. Let's go to defensive duels. Defensive duels for Declan Rice.
What's that, like 1v1s?
This is 1v1's ground duels.
Oh, okay.
64% of them that he wins.
Do you know what? Yeah, actually, no. I'm a back Declan Rice.
So Declan Rice higher. You're correct on this one. Jorginho is at 60%. However, Jorginho makes 3 more defensive attempts at defensive duels per game. So he wins slightly less, but he attempts more. So it's fairly close there. Aerial duels.
Declan Rice.
Declan Rice, 100%. This is real quick. 54% for him. Only 29% for Jorginho. Sliding tackles, 64%. Declan Rice. Yeah, you're right here. 23% for Jorginho. So I think what you see on here for me is reading of the game, recoveries, like recovery of the ball. How many times a game? I mean, the recovery of the balls is, again, Jorginho's is better. He recovers the ball 10 times per game, but 50% in the opponent's half. Declan Rice, 8 times per game, but only 35% in the opponent's. Ball recoveries, interceptions, defensive duels. Jorginho seems to outmaneuver, but a lot of that is based on reading of the game. When it comes to the more physical elements of defending, so actually tackling for the ball, aerial duels, and winning loose balls in 50-50 challenges, that's where Declan Rice comes out. So what you'll probably find, it's a great thing we did that. I didn't know what the result was going to be.
That's actually great.
What you'll find with Declan Rice is he's not as good at reading the game as Jorginho, but he's better when it comes to the physical element. We had that exact same thing with Michael Carrick. In physical duels, he wasn't the best. But when it comes to, but he barely got into them because he read the game and intercepted the ball before needing to tackle. So you have to understand that those two things sometimes weigh each other off, and it's a real interesting one for me. But listen, Declan Rice is a top player. He would improve Chelsea in many places. Great call, Josh. Thanks for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate that indeed. Remember, I know a lot of people don't like statistics, but as I always say to people, where I get my stats from, there is a video to everything. So for every interception, for every defensive duel, for every single tackle, for every aerial duel, I have video evidence to back it up. So when I turn around and say these things, I also go away and research it. So I'm not just looking at a stat and going, oh, well, he wins 50%. I can see how he wins them. I can also see the ones he loses and why he loses them. So it's eye test and stats combined. And that's what I'm talking. It's why I've said it before about Rashford. You can tell me all you want that 80% of Man United fans think he's got bad decision-making. Bruv, that's an availability heuristic. Because that phrase and everybody's saying it, it makes you notice his mistakes more. So it overinflates their regularity. You think it's a fact because it stands out in your mind. You remember his mistakes because everybody's talking about them. But factually, he doesn't lose the ball more, doesn't misplace passes more, doesn't shoot overtly more, doesn't have his shots blocked more than any of his peers that have the same roles in teams as him. Equally, he's creating as much as they are. So if he's able to maintain statistical outputs the same as his counterparts who have better decision-making, what does that tell you? It means one of two things. Either his decision-making isn't as bad as you make it out to be in comparison to other top players, or the Man United system is so strong that he has more opportunity to create and score goals. That's why his numbers are the same. That's where facts and stats are important, because they dispel myths. A lot of myths exist because of availability heuristics. Just research availability heuristics and it's there in your mind. You know, something that is more familiar to you sometimes can convince your brain that because it's familiar, it happens on a more regular basis, and it isn't always the case. Because right now, every time Rashford does play, if Rashford has a shot and it's blocked, should have passed it. If he passes and the pass his cross doesn't work out, should have shot. Whatever he does, we say it's a bad decision. Unless we're assessing everybody in that same way, it's an unfair comparison. Availability heuristics, research them; they're brilliant. Next on the show, we're gonna have Blue, who's a Chelsea fan. Blue, welcome back to the terrace. What do you want to say?
You know what, Terry? I've been listening to what have you been saying for about nearly an hour or so about Hakim Ziyech and that, and I'll add to the donation that I did earlier, and the fact that I will say this, it might sound controversial, it's the fact that the level of professional of the media these days towards Chelsea, it's beyond ridiculous, and the fact that this kind of rumours like upsets Chelsea fans the most, and the fact that this is not the first time the Chelsea news media, the media has been targeting Chelsea over these kind of rumors about players are not happy at Chelsea, players not settling well with Chelsea and that. But again, man, I'm just like sick and tired of the media that has been targeting Chelsea about these kind of news, man.
Yeah, listen, I think for me, the journalists are always going to print this news, and it's one of the reasons. It's one of the big reasons why I started the Football Terrace, was to have these conversations and to have these debates. Because what can normally happen is fans would you could tweet, but how many people actually get traction with their tweets? Very few people. Like, I mean, there were probably, think about how many Chelsea fans are on Twitter. There's probably 100 of them, really, truly, that tweet something that most people respond to, retweet, and share. The Football Terrace is here to give everybody an opportunity to have themselves be heard. We've created a Discord server so you can go in there and have conversations on a regular. But I actually say to people, use our Discord server over Twitter sometimes, because people respond. I don't know about you, but a lot of our community come to me and say they prefer the Discord server because they say something about Chelsea in the Chelsea chat and people respond. Where on Twitter, they put tweets out and sometimes no one even likes it, no one retweets it, no one comments. It's a much better place to be, and that's why the Football Terrace exists, so people can come out and express themselves. The media are always going to talk about these things. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. For me, it's about Chelsea fans shutting it down or giving an opinion. And in my humble thoughts are very simple. I don't think Hakim Ziyech is going to go anywhere this summer. I'd be surprised. My view is, though, there could be a casualty or two out of the 7 players you signed, because you do have a new manager now who has a new system.
That's the high risk that we should have taken, though. That's the high risk we should have taken, because it's a different game now compared to the previous one. Because, previous with Lampard, yeah, everything like went perfect with our signings in there. But throughout the season, but then like everything falls apart. Apparently, new manager coming in, like sooner rather or later, you're gonna sacrifice like maybe 1 or 2 players.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. I totally understand where you're coming from, brother. And I think that this is just normal when a new manager comes in. It's like I've said to a lot of United fans, like, oh, we wanted Poch. Oh, Poch will get the best out of my favorite players. I'm like, listen, bro, your Poch might not like your favorite player. Then where are you? I say this all the time to people, like, what if Poch doesn't like your favorite player? You'll then become Poch out. Like, this is why you've got to support a club over a manager. You've got to support the squad over individual players. It stops this kind of bias. But bro, listen, I appreciate all the support you give the Football Terrace, my friend. I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. And we'll speak to you again soon, my bro.
Take
care, mate. Thank you. A lot of people ask me about what availability heuristics are, right? And I want to show you this, actually. I want to put it up on the screen. And when you read this, it should make it all make a lot more sense. And when you equate this to football and how we think about things, I'm going to put this on the screen. And this is what happens all the time when it comes to football in opinion. So I'm going to put this up on the screen, and then we're going to go through this. So when it occurs, just imagine you are considering either. Oh, this is what I'm going to read out here. So imagine you are either considering John or Jane, 2 employees at your company for a promotion. Both have a steady employment record, though Jane has been the highest performer in her department during her tenure. However, in Jane's first year, she unwittingly deleted a company project when her computer crashed. The vivid memory of having lost the project likely weighs more heavy on the decision to promote Jane than it should. This is due to the availability heuristic, which suggests that similar memorable moments have an outsized influence on decisions. So this is where it's such a key thing to learn and understand. So it could be one big, gigantic bad decision a player makes you believe that they always make bad decisions on a more frequent basis than others. But in fact, what you might find on the balance of over the balance of time is that in this case, Jane makes less mistakes than John. But because she made one big mistake, you think she makes more because the availability heuristics, the availability bias, that one stands out more in your mind. So what also happens is this happens when you like somebody more. And you think about your personal life. You might have a friend called John and a friend called Jane. We use the same names. You and Jane are super close. You are less likely, because of availability heuristics and availability bias, to remember or see her flaws more than John's. John, you like, you sometimes disagree with him. You sometimes think he's great. Sometimes he's an idiot. Sometimes he's like, he's a friend, but he's like more of an associate. You're like, oh, he's a good guy. When you think about the flaws in both, he stand out more than James because of your emotional connection to her. So when availability heuristics kick in here, it's the emotion that you feel for one of them outweighs the other. So when it comes to footballers, if you prefer Martial over Rashford, and Rashford has had this one gigantic moment that stands out to you as a mistake, it's more likely that you'll believe or see his flaws to be a more frequent occurrence than not. And this happens all the time. We do it all the time. And it weren't until my dad, I was talking about football once, and he just said, just go research availability heuristics. And the more I read about it, the more I realize, there's group effects, why it happens. It says here, the heuristic is a rule of thumb, or it's a mental shortcut. This is so amazing. When I read this, I was like, this is a madness. So this is what it is here. It says, an heuristic is a rule of thumb or a mental shortcut. It helps guide our decisions, because when we make a decision, the availability heuristics makes our choice easier. However, the availability heuristic challenges our ability to accurately judge the probability of certain events, as our memories may not be realistic models for forecasting future outcomes. And that's the point there. It challenges our ability to accurately judge, because something seems more likely, because everybody's saying that Rashford's decision-making is bad. Mo Salah is greedy. A certain player flops in big games. Because everybody's saying it, that information is readily available in your mind at all time. So when your brain takes shortcuts to decision-making, which we do all day, every day, that availability of information, which may be false, makes you believe something that isn't true. It's a psychological phenomenon. And this is what happens all the time. This is what happens all the time in football. Do the research. Lukaku, a prime example. Lukaku's biggest issue was never his first touch. It was his approach play. It was his interchange and passing. The reason everybody focused on his first touch was because of availability heuristics. When he had a bad first touch, it was comically awful. I remember he tripped up and broke his leg once on the ball. I remember he went to control the ball once at the edge of the box. It hit his foot and bounced over his head. You can put clown music to it and it's hilarious. But his first touches that led to a loss of possession happened 50% less than Harry Kane's, Mo Salah's, and Sergio Aguero's every single season they collectively played in the Premier League. But you don't remember the others because their loss of possessions were small moments and they weren't comical. So the availability in your memory of Lukaku's bad touches was higher than that of Harry Kane's and Aguero's. They were more comical, so you remember them clearer, and everybody spoke about them. And because everybody speaks about them, your brain takes a shortcut when who's got the worst touch out of these players? Lukaku. Facts are he doesn't. Simply doesn't. But you don't look at it that way. And that's what it does to people all the time. His were definitely funnier. There's no doubt about it. But he didn't lose the ball. Here, when people say Martial being lazy, that's another great example. So the Martial being lazy thing is amazing. People confuse two different things when it comes to this. Is not really availability. This is more confirmation bias than it is availability heuristics. So when it comes to confirmation biases, you're looking for some information that confirms what you believe, but you disregard anything to the contrary. So Anthony Martial's running in games. People always go, he's lazy, doesn't track, doesn't press. That isn't true. His statistics for ground covered and his statistics for pressing are pretty much on par in the team with Rashford, Bruno, etc. What he doesn't do is make enough progressive runs off the ball. Diagonal runs for the ball to be played into him. He doesn't run enough off the shoulder. He does that on average 70% less than Rashford and Cavani so far this season. So when I say he doesn't work hard enough, I'm talking about those progressive runs. I'm not talking about defensively looking for the ball. But people see that people hear he doesn't run enough. And they use that as confirmation bias to push their narrative that he's lazy, doesn't work hard enough for the team. But they can never specify in what particular area. Do you know why? Because they don't have the ability or the want to actually research it and back up their opinion with facts. And then what happens is they put a tweet out and everybody that wants to believe that Martial's lazy jumps on the bandwagon. And before you know it, you create the availability bias by enough people saying he's lazy, doesn't work hard enough, doesn't press, he lets us down defensively. When in fact, you've got it completely and utterly the wrong way round. I see this happen all the time and it frustrates the living daylights out of me. It's always back to front because nobody actually researches what is really going on. And it happens all the time in football. Happens all the time in football. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. But as I say, if we go back to the Marcus Rashford example, I'm not saying he doesn't make bad decisions. That would be an idiotic thing to say. If he is making more bad decisions than his counterparts, legitimately making more bad decisions, show me that in facts. Or show me it with the eye test. Show me. And someone says, oh, I haven't got all the video clips to back it up. Well, because they won't exist. Show me that he's making more bad decisions per game on average. And I'm talking factually bad decisions here than his counterparts. Not subjective. Subjectively, that's an opinion. Your opinion is not worth more than a fact because it's very easy to manipulate that. Well, yeah, I know Mane's 4 shots were all blocked by defenders, but I think he took the right choice in shooting. You thinking don't mean nothing to me. You know, you have to have that same energy in both directions, but people tend not to do that. Nobody will be able to produce you the facts because it's what it is. It's people's living in their emotions and then allowing their opinions to catch fire. And people in the modern day world think their opinions are worth more than facts. But if Rashford was making excessively more bad decisions than his peers and counterparts, that would show up statistically. It would have to. It would just have to. It would not just pale away insignificantly into the night. It wouldn't be possible for that to happen. It really wouldn't. Do me a favor, everyone who's still tuning in, smash that like button, please. Hit the share button as well. Very, very important to the Football Terrace that you get that done. Terry, I don't think Martial is lazy, but the difference when he loses the ball and Cavani loses the ball is very different. I think that's what gets to people. Yeah, listen, and that's very true. And I think that's a fair point. That's a fair point to make. The way Cavani chases after the ball is what I would call part of the Man United way. It's something Man United players have done for years. It's something Man United players love. It's something Man United players respect hugely. And I think it's very, very important as well. I really, really do. I really, really do. There's something else I was going to talk about. But I weren't going to go. But I forget what it was now. But that's the point. Some people say like Rashford's passing's underrated. Like, I hear people say he's a bad passer. Compared to who and in what context? And show me this. Like I've heard someone say the other day that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a worse footballer than so-and-so. Well, dude, so like someone says that he's worse, then show me the facts that back that up. I think what happens with a lot of people is I think technique and the visual appearance of a player can undermine the facts behind them. So I look at someone like Aaron Wan-Bissaka as a prime example. When he makes mistakes, he looks awkward, so it's comical. Because it's comical, it stands out and is a little bit, it's a little funnier. if that makes sense. Some players look cleaner and look tidy when they hit a ball or they pass a ball or they control a ball. So even when they make a mistake, it doesn't stand out as being as funny. But when you actually break things down and look at it statistically, if somebody was a better passer, it would stand out significantly, wouldn't it? You would see that in the statistics. You would see that in the outcomes of what they do. And I think that sometimes it's overlooked. And of course, sometimes you do sign the wrong players, and there are definitely flaws in particular people. But then you have to look at why the club bought them. Defensively, I think now it's that case of I don't get out of this player what I want. And I think that for me is the big standout here. Is I'm not getting out of this player what I want. I'm not getting enough performance out of this player like I want. I'm not getting from it what I want. So I'm going to attack the individual rather than looking at what does the team need. That's the big question here. Khalid here, brother. I've never seen you try and call in before. I've never seen your name appear in the bottom. We're going to do one more caller. We're going to get Mo on the show. Mo, welcome to the Football Terrace. What are you saying?
Hello, Terry. Good?
Yeah, I'm very well. What do you want to say, brother?
I have a question for you. Kepa, he was good yesterday. Really good. So my question is for you. Was Kepa a Lampard problem? Because he was good at Bilbao. He was good under Sarri. And he had a good performance yesterday.
I would let Chelsea fans correct me on this, but I saw biscuit fingers when he was at when Sarri was here as well. I saw a lot of bad mistakes when Sarri was here. Is he a Lampard problem? Not specifically, in my opinion. He had a good game last night. I mean, maybe you'll get, who knows? Maybe he can be turned around. Maybe Tuchel can turn him around. It would certainly save Chelsea a lot of money if they can turn him around. Does that make sense? But I don't know. I look at a lot of his mistakes, and maybe it's down to confidence. Maybe the new manager can build the confidence back up in him. I mean, his valuation I read the other day is down to as low as £13 million now. So if Chelsea could even get a few good performances out of him between now and the end of the season, maybe you could yield a bit more money for him, but we'll see. I mean, personally, yourself, do you think he can turn his Chelsea career around?
I don't know, because I won't let the one game fool me, because he has done a lot of mistakes in his career. But I will still play him in the cup games and see if he still had the consistency.
Fair enough. There we go. Mate, listen, I appreciate you coming on the show and having your say, mate. Thank you very, very much indeed. Everyone that's tuned in today, thank you. We're back 5 p.m. Man City Tottenham preview. 9 p.m. Kendall's back with the all-female podcast, which still needs to be named. We haven't named it yet. So that's on at 9 p.m. tonight. So make sure you're tuning for both those shows. Until then, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll